Hi everybody, I'm Nicole and this is Dusty Book Sniffers, and today we're here to talk about DNFing books. So let's get started. Well, good morning or good evening everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Thank you for taking some time out of your day and spending it with me while I prattle on about the books that I have not read, because this is all about DNFing books. So my question to you is, do you DNF books? And if so, what's your criteria for DNFing a book? So for me, I have DNF'd a couple books, and that's why I wanted to do this video today. So in the last month, I have DNF'd 3 books. There's a little one at the front there, and another one that I'm sort of reading at the moment, and I'm thinking that I'm probably going to DNF that, but I've left that at home because I technically haven't done that yet. So basically, the reason I wanted to talk about this today is because we do, especially here in Australia, I can't speak for anywhere else in the world, but here in Australia, we do pay a premium for books here. And so it is really very much a struggle if you've bought a book and it's not what you expected, or the blurb has hyped it up and it's not quite right. And yeah, and then you end up having this book that you push through because you paid so much money for it. Now, we've got big box stores here such as Big W and Target and Kmart, which all are now starting to get a lot of books in, especially new releases and whatnot. So like your Colleen Hoovers and all that sort of stuff, you can pick up them for a reasonable price, for around $17 for a paperback. So for instance, this one here, I picked up on special, and it was $12 when I got it. Sorrow and Bliss, I picked that up from Amazon, and that one I got for $18. So I shop between all of them. If my daughters are doing an order from Kmart or somewhere like that, I'll say, hey, can you see if they've got this book? They'll have a look. If it is, I'll jump on their postage, and we split the postage that way because I live in a household with 2 other readers, and my husband is also a reader. He's an exclusive audiobook reader, and so he DNF books quite easily, but he does a lot more research into the audios and stuff like that. He'll select the samples to make sure that the narrator is going to be right and whatnot. So basically, and that's why I wanted to get on here, because I have actually purchased these books and they weren't cheap, and I've now DNF'd them, and I'm going to talk about why I've DNF'd them. So the first one is actually a book that I selected for the Read Around the World Challenge, and it's only a little book. It's called The Road from Home, and I haven't posted anything up because I was looking for another book from Armenia. And this one here, this one is actually written by David Kedridon, and he recreates his mother's voice telling the true story of her childhood, interrupted by one of the most devastating holocausts of our century. Veron, and I'm not even going to try and pronounce her middle name, was born into a loving and prosperous family. Then in 1915, the Turkish government began a systematic destruction of the Armenian population. So that's what this book is about. Now, I normally give a book up to 100 pages, but I just couldn't connect with this book. I couldn't get into the story. It was very slow. It was very lagging. I got, I think I got 50 pages in, and yes, I did dog ear it because I didn't have any bookmarks at the time. So I got up to chapter 5, which is page 49, and I just hadn't connected with the story. Like, it was pretty slow going. It was told in very simplistic language as well. Like, it's fairly easy to read, but I just wasn't connecting with the story. So I've decided to read something different, and it is called The Sandcastle Girls, and I don't know anything about it. It was on Kindle Unlimited, so I've grabbed it, and it is written by Armenian author, and I think it is also based in Turkey, maybe. I don't know. I'll have to do a little bit more research. I will put where it's based and everything down on the bottom. So yeah, so I have come to a screaming halt with the Read Around the World Challenge, and so I've DNF'd this book. I'm going to keep it on my bookshelf because I think maybe maybe it's just not the right time. I might pick it up at another time and see how I go. My daughter was also interested in reading it, and she asked me why I was DNFing it. And I just said I just couldn't connect to the story. I was really struggling with it. So that was one that I DNF'd this month. The other one was a bingo challenge. Now, this was for the historical fiction one where I was going to read this one and The Maid that I just showed you a little while ago. This one is based in, it's set in 1929, and it is following the story of, let me just find her. Following the story of Lillian. Okay, now I also had this on audiobook as well, but I just could not get into this book. It was boring. It was absolutely boring. I could not get into it. Now I got up to page, I think 80 in this one. Let me just have a look. Sorry, I got up to page 91. And so basically it is a story of, as I said, Lillian, her 17-year-old self, and basically she's in Tripoli. No, that's where her brother is. Let me just have a look here. So she is actually coming of age. So she is starting to think about going to parties and all that sort of stuff. Her brother works for a car, like he's a mechanic or something, and he goes over to Tripoli and he is working over there. And so she is on the verge of going to see him there where I got up to. So basically, I just found the story very flat. It just wasn't doing it for me. I just could not get in behind her character. Couldn't give a rat's backside about her brother, and it was all about her brother, rah, 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 and all that sort of stuff. I don't think I just don't think it's for me. Like, the brother ends up getting married to an Arabian girl, but he hasn't told his parents and stuff like that, so I can't see it's going to work out very well. But anyway, I decided that it just wasn't for me. Again, at this time, it's not for me. I think the story may have some merit, but it just didn't do it for me, so I decided to DNF it. So that's the reason behind that one. So I didn't meet the prompt on my bingo prompt for an historical fiction in the end. I read 90 pages of it. That was it. Another bingo prompt, and this one I picked up purely for the cover. I'm up to page 93 in this one, but I decided this morning that I was going to DNF it, and that is Angels of Detroit. It's a novel. Okay, so basically the story of this, and I think, like, I've done like I started to do a vlog on this, and I've just decided to scrap it altogether because I've DNF'd it. But basically, Detroit, it's set in Detroit. Detroit's gone bankrupt, and basically it's following a group of characters from all different walks of life. Apparently, all their lives will collide at some stage. So we've got some climate activists in it. We've got some human trafficking. We've got a great-grandmother that's trying to build a community garden. We've got another character in there that is living next door to the great-grandmother, and he is a he's into cabinetry. Is that the right word term for it? He makes kitchens and stuff like that, and he's living in his grandmother's house. And so basically it's depicting Detroit and you know, the fall of Detroit and how it's gone to rack and ruin and all that sort of stuff. So it's trying to be very descriptive, and it's just not hitting the mark for me. So Angels of Detroit, like, I don't know if anybody else has read it. Tell me if you've read it and what you thought of it. But I've got to page 91 and I'm just like, yeah, nah, I am not reading this. Now, this one I didn't actually choose. This actually came in a box last year that I got, which was the Advent box from Book Grocer. And basically it's just, yeah, it hasn't really hit the mark for me. So this one's going back on the shelf. Apparently I'm not allowed to give any books away. I personally would give this away in a heartbeat, but my daughter wants to take a closer look at it and see if any of her friends have read it. I doubt whether they have. This was published back in 2016, and it was by Bloomsbury, USA. So yeah, 2016 it was first published. So it didn't really do it for me, and that's why I DNF'd it. Will I go back to it? I don't think so, because the characters were just so flat for me. And it was trying, as I said, it was trying to be atmospheric, and it just didn't hit it. So I doubt whether I'll ever pick this up again. But they are the 3 books that I've DNF'd. So what is my criteria for DNFing? I used to only give it the first chapter, And then I quickly learnt that sometimes you can be too harsh in that judgment of the first chapter. So my latest one is I read up until 100 pages. Now, yes, I know that I've stopped short of the 100 pages, but this one here, I think that's chapter 6 that I've read up to in Detroit, Angels of Detroit, is I'm almost up to, let me just have a look here. I am almost up to chapter 8. So I've given it seven chapters. It was 6 chapters for the Fourth Shore, and it was 5 chapters for, or 4 chapters for the other one that I DNF. So basically, instead of judging it by the first 1 or 2 chapters, which originally I used to only just read the first chapter. If I didn't gel with it, I'd put it down. I decided that it was better to give it at least 80 to 100 pages. I try to go to 100 pages because I feel that that gives you enough background, because most books, you know, when you first start reading them, they're sort of setting up the plot line, they're setting up the building the world and all that sort of stuff. So I thought I really, really have to give it a little bit extra. So that's why I go to the 100. You know, yes, I could probably go and borrow these books from the library and all the rest of it, but I live in a small country town. Our library's not big. Half the time I've got to bring the books in. Half the books that I'm looking for probably aren't even there, or they're out and I've got to wait for them. So I just buy my books. I just find it easier. And, you know, some of the books I find on Kindle Unlimited, I DNF them really easy because I haven't paid anything for that. You know, I've paid that one-time fee, but, you know, I can go through them and I can be a little bit more harsher with those. Although, in saying that, I don't DNF a lot of books off Kindle Unlimited. That has a really good selection of books. And my husband and I often look through the free stuff on Audible as well and see what's there. And we've come across some really good books. But what is your method for DNFing? What's your criteria? How do you come to the conclusion that you're going to DNF a book? Leave me a comment down below, because I'd really like to know what you do and how you work it and how you work your system. But that's it from me today. Hope you're having a fabulous day no matter where you are. As you can see, I have a gorgeous day here. We're in the high 20s today, not as hot as it's been on the other days. But as I said, that's it from me today. If you've not yet subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the little bell icon beside it, and then that way you're not going to miss out on any future uploads. But as always, keep turning those pages and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.